Over the past few days, we have seen Blizzard executives, both former and current, begin to release statements in regards to recent allegations that Activision Blizzard, and Blizzard in particular, has been infected with a frat boy or bro culture that has essentially enabled harassment and discrimination. Most recently, we saw former Blizzard executives like Blizzard co-founder and former CEO Mike Morhaime apologize for his failure in protecting the employees of his company, particularly women. And while his statement is far better than the ones released by current leadership actually taking culpability for what transpired, the fact remains that the past cannot be erased. The fact remains that the damage is done, and it is now about the actions that he takes from here on out. Same thing goes with Chris Metzen, who came out with a similarly apologetic statement in which he admitted culpability, in which he expressed that he failed his employees and the people working under him, said and admitted that words alone aren't enough, but it will be a matter of what are you going to do about it from here on out. As for current Blizzard leadership, well, response has been nothing but pathetic. Starting with J. Allen Brack's statement, the current president and CEO, while he expressed how extremely troubling all of this was, how it's completely unacceptable for anyone to face discrimination or harassment, he never once apologized, he never once took accountability for what happened, he never said it's my fault, I failed. Instead, he propped himself up on a pedestal by emphasizing what a good person he is, because he disdains bro culture and have spent my career fighting against it, despite the recent allegations that all of this took place under his leadership, how he enabled all of this, and not to mention that 2010 clip showing J. Allen Brack engaging with a female attendee of a panel who just asked the basic question, can we have female armors that don't look like Victoria's Secret items? And he just essentially embarrassed her and laughed her off. And he pretentiously talked about how when he spoke to CEO of Activision, Bobby Kotick, about taking the position of president of Blizzard, he mentioned the revered saint of the Brack household, Gloria Steinem. He's saving face is what he's doing here. And worst of all, his consolation to employees was that, hey, feel free to talk to managers, HR partners, members of the legal team, and to the executive team about your woes, when people have tried to do that before only to be ignored, or only for those teams to defend and enable the abusers further, or for abusers to be part of those teams. So with all said and done, J. Allen Brack's statement here feels empty, and these consolations do not feel meaningful in any way, shape, or form. But if you thought this statement was bad, check out this statement from another executive. This was an email sent internally that a Blizzard employee decided to forward to investigative reporter Jason Schreier, and here's what he tweeted on that front. Activision Blizzard executive Fran Townsend, who was the Homeland Security Advisor to George W. Bush from 2004 to 2007 and joined Activision in March, sent out a very different kind of email that has some Blizzard employees fuming. And I'll get to Blizzard employees' reactions in a bit, but suffice to say that plenty of people, both former and current employees, are infuriated by the dismissive nature of the statement and how it tries to bury the culture issue of the company under the rug. And by the way, this is an executive who's only been with Activision Blizzard since March. She's only been with the company for a couple of months, and yet in this statement, she claims to be fully aware of everything going on within Blizzard and what the culture has been like within Blizzard for the past decade or so. She acts as if she can speak for the ground floor employees within the company who's been with Blizzard for longer than she has. You'll see what I mean as I read this for you guys, but the bottom line is she basically says everything is good at the company, all of the allegations and the lawsuit send a distorted and untrue picture of what the company currently is, and basically categorically denies that anything's wrong at the company because leadership has taken charge and taken the steps to mitigate any sort of harassment or discrimination. And this is all while employees are currently speaking out about how all of the allegations in the state of California's lawsuit are all true, how they've all seen this stuff happen. So here's what Fran said. Everyone, as the executive sponsor of the ABK Employee Women's Network and our chief compliance officer, I wanted to reach out to you. I know this has been a difficult time for many of us. A recently filed lawsuit presented a distorted and untrue picture of our company. So she's saying that this has been a difficult time because of the distorted and untrue picture of the company, not because of what employees have suffered through, including factually incorrect, old, and out of context stories, some from more than a decade ago. We know this is false. Employees have been sharing on social media testimonials of harassment and discrimination occurrences that definitely happened much more recently than a decade ago. But more importantly, why should harassment and abuse be dismissed if it happened a long time ago? That's still stuff that happened within the company and is reflective of a culture that has permeated for years within Blizzard. The fact that she's saying it doesn't matter because it's old news just goes to highlight the kind of scummy mentality that she has. How little empathy she has for the people who've been traumatized by this stuff and have been living with it for years and years. The damage is still there. Now, something you may notice is that every time the word company comes up in this statement, I've highlighted that in a more prominent shade because I want to emphasize just how much this statement is trying to protect the company rather than caring about the employees, rather than protecting the employees. The word company in this statement is used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. There is almost no consideration for the human beings working at the company. It is all about the organization itself and protecting the organization and its corporate interests. I mean, just look at this paragraph. The Activision companies of today, the Activision companies that I know, are great companies with good values. The Activision that you know as someone in a position of power, as a member of the executive team who doesn't have to worry about the harassment that ground floor employees have to face, that doesn't have to deal with worries about losing their job, that doesn't have to worry about their salary. Your experience doesn't compare. You cannot possibly know what it's like to be a ground floor employee from your position, especially with this kind of mindset. When I joined the executive leadership team, I was certain that I was joining a company where I would be valued, treated with respect, and provided opportunities equal to those afforded to the men of the company. This is all about Fran's experience, my experience. I've had it okay. For me, this has been true during my time. You truly know somebody comes from a position of privilege when their argument is, I've had a great time from this position of power, so everyone else must be having a great time. Just complete ignorance and apathy. She continues, as a leader, I'm committed to making sure that the experience I have is the same as the rest of the organization. Really? Are you willing to make all of the ground floor employee salaries equal to yours? Let's get one thing clear here. The experience of the ground floor employees will never be the same as that of the executives because of the power and salary disparity. And then she says, we have a leadership team that is committed to these principles in every way, when the leadership team are the ones who have enabled, ignored these issues, or defended the abusers and promoted them and put them in more powerful positions. And then here's another laughable bit. I am proud to be a part of a company that takes a hardline approach to inappropriate or hostile work environments and harassment issues, which basically implies that Activision Blizzard has a zero tolerance policy for harassment. You mean the same company that continued to protect people like Afrasiabi, who is among the worst abusers and harassers within the company, who's been reported by multiple women and ultimately went unscathed and actually got promoted multiple times? The guy who Jail and Brack had a stern talking to but was ultimately never truly punished, never suffered any major consequences that would encourage him to change his behavior? Are we talking about that company? Yeah, okay. She then proceeds to highlight some of the initiatives that the company has taken, including investing in networks and introducing programs and training and campaigns and programs and channels for reporting violations and teams and training and more training. But none of this stuff matters if perpetrators don't suffer the consequences of their actions. There's only so far that training can go. You cannot make an inherently shitty person less shitty unless they themselves are willing to change, or unless they understand that they will be punished if they engage in nefarious ways. To change the culture, leadership has to take responsibility and ensure that the perpetrators are held accountable. And if that is not happening at a level that is appropriate, then this culture will continue, and it has continued, as Blizzard employees continue to say. What gets me about the statement is that it's not listening. It's just all about me and the company, but at no point does it say, employees, what's wrong with the company and what can we do to be better? How have I failed you? There's nothing, no shade of that. in any part of this statement. This statement is all about, this is a great company and that's final. La 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 la. I'm not going to listen to anything you have to say because this is just a great company with great values. And then she goes on about how the company has created fair compensation policies and how they're confident that they pay all of their employees fairly for equal or substantially similar work. Again, it's all about the executive team's opinions in this echo chamber. They're not actually listening to the employees, despite the fact that at one point, workers share their salaries in this Excel document in revolt of the pay disparity between various divisions and various employees and with the executives. They did this to actively protest the fact that some people were simply not being compensated fairly or equally, and the fact that executives were being paid ridiculous sums of money. This bit right here is complete bullshit, and both former and current employees have said as much, but in Blizzard, not every voice matters. Right here, the executives are blotting out the voices of their staff with their own. She then says, we take proactive steps to ensure that pay and advancement are driven by merit, we reward performance, and we conduct extensive anti-discrimination trainings, including for those who are part of the compensation process. Says the company that rewards Bobby Kotick with something like a payout of $200 million lately, even when he doesn't meet all of his own targets and goals. We work at a company that truly values equality and fairness. You can say that, you can shout that if you want, but none of that is going to make it true unless your actions and the culture within the company reflect that, which they currently don't. Rest assured that leadership is committed to continuing to maintain a safe, fair, and inclusive workplace. That's certainly hard to believe, given leadership are the enablers here. We cannot let egregious actions of others and a truly meritless, irresponsible lawsuit damage our culture of respect and equal opportunity for all employees. Again, the emphasis here is protecting the company from the irresponsible lawsuit rather than protecting the employees from irresponsible leadership. And then finally, we aspire in our company to do great things in our games, in our impact on society, and in our work environment. We continue to hold firm to our principles and invest, as we have in the past, the resources to ensure quality opportunities for all employees. We remain committed as a leadership team to doing what is right. Okay, that's a good one. You should really try for stand-up comedy. To close out this video, I'd like to show you how staff and employees within Blizzard have been responding to Fran's statement. This is the face of evil, by the way. This is Fran Townsend, the individual who issued that moronic statement and the one who believes that she can speak for female ground floor employees and say that everything is a-okay when she's only been at the company for a short amount of time and when she's in a position where she won't face the kind of abuse that ground floor employees do because she actually has power. One Blizzard staff said, normally I would say my tweets don't represent the views of my employer. Today I can definitely say my employer's statements do not represent my views, feelings, or core values. Another member from the World of Warcraft team said, like many of you, our team's been going through a mix of outrage and sorrow and hurt. We gotta roll up our sleeves and fix this shit as a company and as an industry. The same staff member continues, I'm not talking about platitudes and corporate bullshit statements. I'm talking about friends and colleagues working together to pull evil out by its roots, and evil is really the right word for all of this, and the way the executives have been behaving amidst these allegations. No care for the humans that they're responsible for. Another Blizzard developer said, I'm unhappy with the corporate response up to this point. I don't feel it represents me or what I believe in. Many of us have said this internally. It feels worth saying publicly, and no doubt we're seeing some of these public statements, but internally there's a lot more fury and discussion and outrage and disgust. Another Blizzard employee said, to claim that these stories are factually incorrect or untrue is a slap in the face to current and former employees and does not represent my core values. A member of the Overwatch team said, change has to come from the top. Grassroots rallying and nice words can't fix systemic toxicity. I'm very lucky to be on a team now that treats me well, but being treated like a competent human being shouldn't be a matter of luck. A member of the World of Warcraft team, I don't want to hear another we want to do better and encourage our employees to be better. That should be obvious. I want to see a statement of this person was found to do X and this does not represent our values. As such, this person is no longer under our employment. Yeah. Consequences for abusers. That alone is going to resolve so many issues. Forget the trainings and the programs and the channels to report, especially when reporting ultimately does nothing because of the enablers. Give these abusers consequences. Fire them outright. Do not give them room to engage in these repeat offenses. They should be ousted from the company Period. There should be no question. There should be zero tolerance, which is what companies keep saying, but don't actually apply that to their work culture. Here's somebody from the World of Warcraft development team. Many stopped working yesterday in solidarity with the women that came forward, so there's internal protest and revolt going on, which is good to hear. Another World of Warcraft developer really hope that Blizzard puts out a statement on this situation that I actually agree with and can support, and not more legal defense posturing, and that's very much what Fran's statement feels like. It feels like a statement made for the lawyers, not for the people, not for the employees, not for the human beings, because the stuff said so far is unacceptable and doesn't represent me, and I know I'm not alone in feeling that way here. Here's another World of Warcraft developer who not only confirmed the horror stories presented by the lawsuit and knows that they're all true and shouldn't be dismissed, but also said that the fact that Activision Blizzard dismissed it not once but twice is appalling. They dismissed it with internal emails to employees, and they dismissed it publicly. Last but not least, a number of Blizzard employees have been copying and pasting this one statement in solidarity, which reads, "This tweet is my own and does not represent the views of my company. I do not support any attempt by Activision Blizzard to diminish the very real damage done to victims of harassment at Blizzard. We absolutely must hear and support the women at our company, both current and past." There is not much else to add here except to say that I hope Activision Blizzard, and Blizzard especially, and its executive and leadership team get what's coming to them. I hope this lawsuit is successful, and ultimately, I just hope for positive change. Because as I've said before, making video games shouldn't be this hellish and nightmarish. Let me know in the comments below what your take is on all of this and the current situation surrounding Activision Blizzard and the statement that Fran put out there and the developer's response to it. Share your thoughts below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.